Mr. Swanson. First of all, Mr. Swanson, what do you think? Do you think history textbooks are biased? Why or not? Why or why not?
Yes, they are biased. The reason I would say that they are biased is because they are a product. And much like all products, they have to be sold. And the way that this usually works is that the big states that have lots of little children, little gringuitos inside of them, those are the states that have the largest amount of consumers. So usually the publishers that make these textbooks design them in such a way that the people in these states, the schools in these states will want to purchase them. So a big state like Texas, which is very conservative, for example, has a lot of influence on what these textbooks say.
Second, how do you think this affects the way that students perceive the information and the way they learn?
Okay, definitely. So again, using the example of Texas, there's certain examples in U.S. history and even imperialism, a lot of the stuff that you might be learning in 11th grade history, where these textbooks don't like to call the United States an empire. They don't like to treat events like the Spanish-American War as a war of aggression. They don't like to mention things such as the Platt Amendment, which restricts Cuba's freedom. They simply omit them. They don't mention them at all. So the way that this affects U.S. children when they're learning history is that they don't realize some of the aggressive things that the United States has done.
Do you think there is any way to avoid this type of bias?
I think it's very difficult to avoid the bias. The only way to do it would be to somehow remove the monetary incentive that these publishers have to selling to these large groups. And I don't know how we can not think about money. That's a big challenge. So I think it's possible, but very difficult. I don't have an answer. If I did, I would probably make a lot of money. But that would be weird because the answer that would give me a lot of money would be about moving away from money and removing money as an influence. That's what I got.
And, can you tell us about any experience you have had with historical biases and how they affected the way you have learned them, the way you see your students learn?
Definitely. When I was a student, that's when I recall the most bias, I guess. I remember being made to read books such as Howard Zinn's A People's History of the United States, which doesn't talk about a lot of the good things that the United States has done. It's a largely critical or negative text. And I remember, like, when I was in 12th grade and a large part of the course was from that book, thinking, like, oh no, everything the United States has done is awful. But the United States has done good things too. I mean, that's where hamburgers come from. So it's, you know, hopefully we have some balance, you know. So like as a teacher, I try to give students both perspectives, you know, maybe the perspective of some historians that are critical of what the United States has done, but also the perspective of historians who are in favor of the United States and recognizes some of their positive accomplishments.